Hello, everyone. This is Sitsire of the Sitsire's channel, and welcome again. All right. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I plan to read this year in 2023. So this is my tentative to read list. The reason why it's tentative is because on Goodreads for the Goodreads challenge, I only put down 20 books would be my goal for the year. Okay. So this is rather low. Now last year I put down 20 and I wasn't able to make to complete the challenge. I only read 16 out of 20, and I talked about this in a previous video. Um, in other years, I did much better, but as I have said before, in other videos, my father died in 2021, and my reading just declined because I had so much to do. Besides teaching, I had other responsibilities and helping my mom out with paperwork and things. So it was I'm hoping that this year that I can get my numbers back up. And even though I set my limit at 20, I am hoping to do more than 20 books. So I'm going to mostly just focus on the 20 books, on 20 books in this video. And maybe we'll see at the end of the year, hopefully, what I've actually read. I'm hoping that I am able to go to beat the challenge, to do more than 20, and to read at least 30 books this year. That's what I'm hoping, but we'll have to see. I'm also hoping that this year I also would like to read more classic books, and also more classic books, more nonfiction, some philosophy, and the books that I read are both. I read both secular books and religious books. So here, when I get started, we're going to look at about 10 books that I want to put on my list to read this year. And I want to stick to the list because often I do not have a planned list. I never have a planned list, in fact. So I thought this year I would do differently and make a planned list and try to stick to it because even though in the past I've read up like maximum about 65 books in a year, I didn't have a plan, and it would get it would get a little, I would get a little bit of feeling of being overwhelmed because it's so many choices of books. I'm not a person that reads like one or two genres. I'm willing to try different things that I don't normally read. I prefer quality books. I will do read some light reads. I'll read children's books occasionally. But it's so many choices. I have a library in my home. I have a Kindle e-reader. I have a Kindle Fire, and then I live in a small city which has a quite good public library, and just generally, I live in the state of Georgia. The Georgia library system is quite good. I don't know if it's the best, but it's good. Uh, there are a lot of, I'm surprised the amount over the years now of international authors. Even in my town, you see more international authors, and not just American and British, which mostly I was exposed to when I was growing up. And of course, plenty of classics as well. But so let's get started and let's go over to look at some of the books. That These are books that I don't have in hard copy. I'm going to read these either on Kindle or either on Internet Archive or in PDF forms. And then after this group that I don't have a hard copy for, I'm going to, get on, show the books on camera that I do have and hard copy that I want to add to this list. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to mention in my list is a book called The Ladder of Divine Ascent. It is a book written by St. John uh, Climacus, and he was a 6th and 7th century monk on Mount Sinai. He lived in a monastery there, And this is a book about it's an ascetic type book, and it's about in your life trying to, it's a Christian book, and it's to about trying to live a more virtuous life instead of a life based on so much vice. So this is what the Ladder of Divine Ascent is about. Just a little quick, uh, but from what I, just this is just a very, just very, very little synopsis. But this is a book I've, ran across because I lean more toward Orthodox Christianity. I'm not Orthodox. I started out Protestant and then non-denominational, but I lean more toward Orthodox Christianity. And so this book is often mentioned in some of the writings that I read. So I decided I want to read it. And so this is a treasure of writing from the 6th and 7th centuries. Another book I want to read this year is I plan to read is The City of God by St. Augustine. I read St. Augustine's book Confessions about 3 years ago. And so it had been on my plan. It had been my plan to read his book, The City of God. The City of God is Christian philosophy. St. Augustine was actually born in North Africa, where he was born is actually now Algeria. He's called St. Augustine of Hippo, and he was usually when you see paintings of him, or you see paintings of him, he looks like he might be European actually, but he was actually Amazigh. Okay, so being Amazigh, he could have been very light skinned or he could have been very dark skinned, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What I really want to do is experience more of his writing, and the City of God is probably more famous than his book, The Confessions or Confessions. Now this book I've actually started reading. I started reading it last night. It's called Orinoco, and it's written by a British woman named Afra Ben. Afra Ben lived during the 1600s, during the Restoration period in England. She was actually a playwright, and I think she was a poet as well. And she wrote this book. The subtitle is it's Orinoco, or the Royal African Slave, I believe. And so this is a book about a novel. It's actually a novella about an African prince who is captured and brought over, I believe, to Suriname, which is in northwestern South America. So I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. So I started reading it last night. The language is very flowery. I really enjoy, it's complex type language. And so I want to get back this year to reading more complex writings more than just the very lightweight stuff that I've been reading for the last couple of years. Now, this book is a collection of short stories called A Useless Man. The author is Said Faik Abassayanik. I'm probably not saying it right, okay, but maybe kind of close. He actually is one of Turkey's greatest writers. He was quite popular. He was quite a popular literary figure during the 1940s in Turkey, and he is his writings. He did a lot of short stories, so he is like one of Turkey's most famous short story writers. So I've never read anything by him. So I am looking forward to reading this collection of short stories by Said Faik Abassayanik. And this next book, Butchan, or Master Darling, is by one of Japan's top famous writers from the 19th and early 20th century, Natsume Soseki. On the book here, they have his name. I think they have it reversed. This is one of those ebooks, free ebooks from Amazon. So I think the story is about a Japanese schoolmaster. So me being an educator, I'm curious to read it. And I'm a big lover of Japanese literature and Japanese poetry, haiku, and manga. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book by Natsume Soseki. The next book on this list is Roshaman and Other Stories. It's also by a Japanese short story writer. He's considered the father of the Japanese short story. His name is Ryunosuke Akutagawa. Okay. And I've had this book on my Kindle for quite a while, and I said, why not? I should read some. I've read some Japanese novels, I've read short stories, and of course manga, but I haven't really read any Japanese short stories. I'm wrong. I have read some short stories by Haruki Murakami, who is, he's still alive. He's famous and popular Japanese writer. So yeah, this will be the second Japanese short story writer that I've read, that I will be reading, hopefully. And he is considered, like I said, the father of the Japanese short story. Now, this book, called The Reformation of Morals, I had never heard of the author before. This author, in fact, I just heard about him this week. When you get this recording, it will be a week later. But anyway, but his name was Yahya Ibn Adi. Okay, and I saw a YouTube video about his life the other day. Who was Yahya Ibn Adi? Well, he was actually a Jacobite Christian from Iraq. He was born into Crete during the I think ninth century. He was a theologian and a philosopher. So this book is considered sort of like his the pinnacle of his writings. He did a lot of translations of Greek philosophy into Syriac, and so he's quite a very he was an Arabized Syriac Christian. So he was he was very famous in his time in Iraq. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book of his, of philosophy. I saw online that this book is both, it's parallel. It has English on one side, apparently, and Arabic on the other side. It's not a very long book. It's sort of like a treatise. Okay. Now, I read this book, Ramona, by George Eliot, the pen name of Marianne Evans. I look for, this is a historical novel. Now, I haven't read, I've only read one book of George Eliot's years ago when I was in university. So hopefully this will be a treat. And I had thought about reading her book Middlemarch, but it's really thick, and I plan on reading two or three thicker books this year. So I said, okay, what I'm going to do is, because I haven't read anything of George Eliot's since I was a young person, I'm going to read this historical novel. Now, Ramona is set in 14th century Florence. It is sort of a book looking at the artistic, intellectual, religious, political climate of Florence during that century. So I'm hoping that I look forward to reading this classic novel, because this is a novel written in the 19th century, and so I hope I will enjoy it. The last book in this group of ebooks or PDFs that I plan to read is The Bible Came from Arabia, and it's by Kamal Salibi. I learned about this book, I believe, from a YouTuber named Sheikh Omar Balak. And Sheikh Omar Balak is Muslim, but he mentioned this book. I believe I did. I think I did. But yeah, uh, Kamal Salibi was Lebanese, and he was actually Protestant. He was born in a Protestant Lebanese family, and he was a professor, and a writer, and he taught at the American University in Beirut. And so his theory, which is controversial to say the least, is that the Bible actually came from Arabia, not from ancient Israel or from Palestine. That it actually came from Arabia, and it's very possible. I'm going to tell you why, because I've read several books in the last few years, and also the Bible itself. I have read all of the Protestant Bible, which is 66 books. I've read the Orthodox Bible, which is even more books than the Protestant Bible. And if you read the Bible, there's a lot in it that seems like Arab culture. It really does. The veiling of the women. It's just so much in there. You know, the prophets. Many of the prophets or the patriarchs, like King David, Solomon, Jacob. They all had more than one wife. They were all polygamous. Okay, and so it's just and then also besides that as well, like I said, there are a number of books I've read in recent years about Christian Arabs in the Middle East, and these Christian Arab kingdoms that were there was one like in Yemen. Was it the Himyarites? I have to go back and look, but yeah, there were, and Yemen is on the Arabian Peninsula, so it is possible. It is very possible from the readings that I have read that the Bible may have actually been written in Arabia. And I was curious to find out about Kamal Salibi. I thought maybe he was Muslim, but he was actually he was from a Christian background. He was Christian Lebanese. So I'm thinking it's possible. He said that many of some of the sites in the Bible were actually in Arabia, not in Israel, Palestine. So yeah. But so I'm gonna stop here. This is the end of the books that I have only in PDF form or ebook, and I'm going to move on now and switch over, and I'm going to talk about the books that I have in hard copy that I plan to read this year. Okay.